Mary Magdalene remains one of the most mysterious and misunderstood figures in biblical history. She is remembered as the woman who stood by Jesus during his ministry, who witnessed his crucifixion with her own eyes, and who was the first to behold the risen Christ. For centuries, her role has been debated, diminished, and even distorted by tradition, but her name continues to echo with reverence and mystery. Unlike many others, she did not abandon Jesus when the shadow of death fell upon him. Instead, she stood at the cross when even some of his closest disciples fled in fear. According to the canonical Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Mary was among the first to arrive at the empty tomb and among the first to proclaim the resurrection. In this sense, she holds a unique and sacred place in the Christian story, often called the Apostle to the Apostles. Yet, her image has been tarnished by centuries of misinterpretation. Later tradition mistakenly identified her with the unnamed sinful woman in Luke 7 who anointed Jesus' feet, branding her as a harlot or prostitute. This conflation, likely intended to diminish her influence, shaped how the world remembered her. However, careful reading of the New Testament reveals no direct evidence that Mary was ever such a woman. Instead, she appears as a devoted follower, a seeker of divine truth, and perhaps even a vessel of hidden knowledge. The Gospel of Mary, a text not included in the official Bible, deepens the mystery. Believed to have been written in the 2nd century AD and later preserved in Coptic manuscripts, it presents Mary as a central disciple entrusted with teachings that were not shared with the others. This Gospel is unlike any other, for it places a woman at the very heart of divine revelation. In it, Jesus imparts secret knowledge about the soul, matter, sin, and salvation, knowledge reserved specifically for Mary because she was considered worthy. The very existence of this gospel challenges the patriarchal structures of early Christianity and raises profound questions. Was Mary Magdalene more than a follower? Was she the closest confidant of Jesus? Was she perhaps even the one he loved above all others? These questions lie at the root of countless debates and speculations. Some modern authors, including Dan Brown in the Da Vinci Code, have gone further, suggesting that Jesus and Mary were bound by a relationship of love, perhaps even marriage. While the historical accuracy of such claims remains uncertain, the idea continues to capture the imagination of seekers and scholars alike. The Gospel of Mary is not a lengthy text but a profound one, filled with dialogues and visions that reveal another dimension of Jesus' message. It can be divided into two major sections. In the first, the resurrected Christ appears to his disciples and responds to their questions. Peter asks him about the nature of sin, and Jesus responds with a teaching that radically shifts our understanding. There is no sin, but you create sin when you act against the nature of the good. In other words, sin is not a universal law imposed upon humanity but something that arises when human beings turn away from their true essence. It is a deeply mystical concept, aligning with Gnostic thought, where the emphasis is on knowledge of the divine self. Jesus warns them not to be misled by external voices claiming authority, for the Son of Man dwells within, and those who truly seek will find him in the depths of their being. These words are powerful, for they place responsibility not on rituals, traditions, or institutions but on the inward journey of the soul. When Jesus departs, the disciples fall into despair, doubting their mission and fearing persecution. But it is Mary who rises to encourage them. With courage and calmness, she speaks, "Do not grieve, do not doubt, for his grace will be with you and serve as your protection." She reminds them that Jesus prepared them for this moment, that they are strong enough to continue. This scene alone is striking, for it portrays Mary not as a silent witness but as a leader who inspires and strengthens the apostles when they falter. It is she who embodies faith when others crumble. Later, at Peter's request, Mary shares a vision she received from the Lord, a mystical journey of the soul ascending through layers of the cosmos. The soul encounters 4 powers and 7 forms of wrath, including darkness, ignorance, desire, jealousy, and false wisdom. Each must be overcome through knowledge and inner strength. Here the Gospel speaks of deep metaphysics, the struggle of the soul against illusions of matter, the necessity of Gnosis to achieve liberation, and the ultimate return of all things to their root in the divine. The teaching is not about external law or punishment but about awakening to the truth within, a message that echoes the essence of Jesus' hidden wisdom. Yet even as Mary shares her vision, conflict arises. Peter, often depicted as the leader of the apostles, challenges her authority. He questions whether the Savior truly entrusted such teachings to a woman in secret and not openly to them. His skepticism reflects both the cultural prejudices of the time and the struggle for leadership within the early church. Mary, weeping, defends her integrity, insisting that she has not lied about the Savior's words. Another disciple, Levi, rebukes Peter, saying, "If the Savior made her worthy, who are you to reject her? Surely the Savior knows her well. That is why he loved her more than us." This exchange is not merely a historical anecdote but a profound reflection of the tensions in the early Christian community. On one side stood the institutional church, increasingly male-dominated and hierarchical. On the other stood voices like Mary's, embodying a more mystical, inclusive, and experiential path of faith. The eventual exclusion of the Gospel of Mary from the canon was not merely a matter of theology but also of power. To accept Mary as a legitimate apostle and teacher would have meant acknowledging women as equal bearers of divine wisdom, a challenge the early church was unwilling to embrace. Beyond the disputes of history, the Gospel's teachings resonate with timeless relevance. The idea that sin is not an external stain but a result of misalignment with our true essence calls us to look inward. The vision of the soul's ascent reminds us that life is a journey through layers of illusion, requiring courage, discernment, and inner clarity. And the image of Mary as the one who stands firm in the face of doubt, rejection, and misunderstanding continues to inspire seekers today. Some later esoteric traditions even suggest that Mary embodied not only discipleship but also creative power. Stories tell of her bringing forth life against all odds, symbolizing the union of faith and divine energy. This has been linked to the symbolism of the Holy Grail, the vessel of creation through which the divine spark is manifested in the world. Whether literal or allegorical, these accounts reveal the deep reverence held for Mary in certain circles, not as a fallen woman but as a creator, a bearer of divine possibility. So who was Mary Magdalene truly? Was she the beloved companion of Jesus, the apostle of hidden wisdom, the visionary who saw beyond matter, or the woman unjustly labeled and forgotten by history? Perhaps she was all these things, and more. What is certain is that her figure continues to challenge, inspire, and provoke thought. The Gospel of Mary offers a perspective that places the soul's inner journey above ritual law, the feminine voice alongside the masculine, and the individual's direct experience of the divine above institutional authority. For centuries, this gospel was suppressed, dismissed as heresy, and excluded from the official Bible. Yet it survived in fragments, preserved by those who recognized its value. Today, as seekers turn once more to these ancient texts, Mary's voice rises again across the ages. She speaks not only to the disciples of her time but also to us, reminding us of the power of faith, the importance of inner vision, and the truth that salvation is not imposed from outside but awakened within. Her story, whether read historically, symbolically, or spiritually, invites us to reconsider our understanding of Jesus' message. Perhaps the true scandal is not whether she was married to Jesus or not, but that her voice, so full of wisdom and strength, was silenced for so long. Perhaps the true revelation is that the divine calls each of us, regardless of gender or status, to awaken the light within and to live in alignment with the good. Mary's legacy is not only about what she may have been in the past but about what she continues to represent: courage in the face of doubt, fidelity in the face of fear, and vision in the face of blindness. Whether we see her as saint, apostle, visionary, or symbol of the sacred feminine, her presence reminds us that truth is larger than dogma, love stronger than fear, and wisdom deeper than prejudice. And perhaps this is the real secret of the Gospel of Mary, that each of us holds within the spark of creation, the impulse of faith, the cup of the Holy Grail, waiting to be awakened. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. He who has eyes to see, let him see. And he who has a soul to feel, let him understand.